Page 6, La Donna É Mobile. I can't speak Italian with a hoot, but it's a very famous melody from an opera by Verdi. I'll go through the process for learning a piece of music and we'll see what happens here. I look it over, I see it's about 2 pages long. The clef signs are treble and bass clef. There's no sharps or flats in the key signature. This is in the key of C major, this arrangement is. So make sure you're doing the scale for C major and the scale for A minor, at least 2 octaves up and down, and probably should be doing the arpeggios for each of those keys, but just 1 octave up and down until you can get it well, until you're really comfortable with that arpeggio before you go for the 2 octaves. Make sure you do the tremolo exercise in the arpeggio file. That's the most important thing on that file. That's going to help you the best. And 3/4 times. Let's take it one hand at a time. Make sure we got the hands worked out. So we're here. 1, 2, 3. And I'm assuming you can do rhythms okay by now. If not, please go back to book 1. Cover everything again. Make sure you can get the rhythms. It's 1, 2. And then 2nd finger. Then 5th finger. Crunch up. Crunch up again. And then 3. And the 2 A's, we just changed hand position. Now I suggest, if possible, use thumb on that half note. Can you do a 2-1? If they want 2nd finger on here, that's a bit of a stretch. My opinion, you can use 3rd. Just come up. Or if you can't reach it, do a 5 and then a 3. And then you're in position. See, there's a little bit about fingering. If you look at the beginning, the first few measures, it's what we call a sequence. The sequence is a short group of notes, a pattern of notes that repeats itself going up or down the keyboard. So here we go. See, that's the same pattern. Many times in piano, we like to finger the pattern the same each time. So they're doing them both starting with 2nd finger. And again, 2nd finger. And that's sort of what they're doing here. Each time they're starting that with 2nd finger. It's handy, but sometimes other notes get in the way. So here on the 3rd line, rather than 2nd finger, which is what they're doing like the 1st line. Here. Because I'm here into the 2nd line, it's hard for me to get up here. So I'm going to change it here, and then I can do a 2 if I want. But if I just start here, I don't have to change. I get it all in one hand position. However, I'm not fingering the sequence now, the way I did at the beginning. Yeah. So whichever. It's probably better to stick with the fingering like you did in the 1st line, except the 1st note can't be 2nd finger because I'm down here. I'm going to use 3. And then you can come up here. That way we're consistent. Yeah. Let's go over to page 7 in the 2nd line. You're here, and then triplet. 1 and a 2. And then, now again, this is good. I like this in the 2nd line. 3rd measure on, dotted rhythm. 5/4. 5/4. It's good practice. I don't recommend using the same finger on both. That's dangerous. Try and get into that. It's a little awkward at first to go 5/4. But it's important that you kind of get the idea of that, so I'm encouraging you to do that. Now, 3rd line down, 2nd measure, 1, rest, come down. 3 E and 1. So we got the dotted rhythm and the triplet rhythm going back and forth, and they need to be different. Don't turn the dotted rhythm into a triplet rhythm. No, that dotted rhythm needs to be crisp. So that's short. Now, at the end of the third line here, the second finger, don't have to. I could use third finger, it's closer. And then reach up at the end. And the reason we do that at the end like that is so we're in position to go on. Here. At the end, the very last chord, 2-5. Here, again, we're just reaching up for that extended position. And so reach up, 2. Left hand's just got the broken chord. So here, it's all one chord. It's a B and an F. And it's C and an E. That's all the left hand's doing pretty much. Put the hands together and we're here. You gotta come up with the left hand. Here. You put the hands together, and then I'll go back over it slowly and carefully and get rid of the hesitations. The tricky part, like on page 7. Third line here. Work out the hands together very slowly and carefully, no hesitations, and then I'll think about the articulation. At the beginning, you get a slur and staccato both, and it's like, well, make up your mind. What do you want? This is known as a portamento or a long staccato. You just separate them. We have to separate them. They're repeated notes. So just play them. Accent. And here, connect all that. Connect all that together. These are slurs, they're not phrases. In the left hand, I'm going chunk chunk. I'm connecting the first 2 beats, you can't connect the repeated notes. Second line. You sort of have 2 major phrases going on. So you can lift up the right hand for those, like at the beginning. Lift up. Lift up. Now this is connected. Lift up. See, we have a contrast, and it's important, where it's a little bit bumpy at the beginning, but in the second line it's smooth. Back to bumpy. And so it can go back and forth like that. So I'll put in the articulation, and once I'm sort of comfortable with that, I get rid of any hesitations that have crept up, because the hesitations will come in. Yeah, get rid of them. If they come in, get rid of them. Just stop what you're doing and get rid of them. Then the dynamics. That applies to the melody, which is the right hand. MP is mezzo piano or sort of soft. That makes the accident note a sort of loud note. You just take it up a notch from where you're at. This needs to be soft in the background. And the third line down, you're going to echo that. You're going to come down. Now you're soft here. That makes the accent note moderately soft. The left hand's very soft. Top of page 7, you go back up to moderately soft. Here, loud, then. You get these little hairpins, get a little louder. This is a long crescendo here, because these can be interpreted different ways in different pieces. It depends on the piece and what the music needs. I have a hairpin I'm talking the first line on page 7. There's a hairpin in the third measure and another hairpin toward the end of the line. A lot of times when we get hairpins like this, when we crescendo up, For the next hairpin, we'll come back down and crescendo up again. Just repeat the crescendo. But in this piece, you really need to treat these as one long hairpin. Just keep crescendoing because we're going to get loud at the second line. So you're moderately soft in the third measure, a little louder, a little louder, loud. And that accent on that half note makes that a very loud note. And then come down, very soft. Staccato on the left hand. At the end, loud. Staccato, and now an accent but no staccato. That makes that last note very loud. I have problems with that now. It's FF at the end, that's fortissimo. You don't really need an accent with fortissimo because the accent would take it up to 3 Fs. So, blah. Just play it very loud. Let the wrist collapse a little bit. Don't pound on the piano. So you're loud, very loud. Bang. Ends with a bang, but it's got to be a musical bang, so careful. Then once I have an idea of the dynamics, I think about the speed. Allegretto is between moderato and allegro. It's sort of moderately fast. Moderato would be 2, 1, 2, 3, moderato. Allegro would boom. 1, 2, 3, 1. It's in between. Have fun with it. Slightly different fingering than in the book. I have a fingering I'm used to, and that's sort of what I use. Fingering in the book or the fingering I discussed with you is fine, whichever. Please don't copy me. So it says, is that how it goes? Oh, okay. I'd like you to be able to read the music and understand what it's saying and discover what it sounds like on your own, and then compare what you've done with other people. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any louds and softs. We're not performing it. We're just checking notes and rhythms. I will do the staccatos and stuff and the accents. So I'll give us 3 counts. 1, ready, go. rest, rest.